Hi, everyone. In my understanding of cultural humility, cultural awareness, advocacy, and social justice as it relates to the counseling profession, I was reminded of a book that I read recently by Matt Chandler called The Explicit Gospel. And he talks about the idea that the gospel has both wings and feet, both is in the air and on the ground. First, the gospel is from God to humanity. This is the idea that the gospel is in the air, it is above our understanding. It is for all and is from a perfect God to an imperfect people. Next, it's on the ground because we as believers live out gospel truth to others. We're called through the Great Commission to go, and as we are going, share the good news of Jesus Christ to all we come in contact with on a daily basis. So, what does this have to do? This book, the idea of the gospel, have to do with the counseling profession. It is the basis for me to meet with my clients through humility because Christ is for anyone and everyone that is made in the image of God. So, this idea of being made in the image of God, this multicultural, diverse theme is embedded in the Bible from Genesis to Revelation to today and beyond. Without humility, without cultural humility, I'm ineffective in my means to be a licensed professional counselor with a biblical worldview. It is through humility that I grow in cultural awareness, recognizing that people's life experiences are vastly different than my own and more difficult than my own. It is through humility that I recognize my shortfalls in that awareness, which in turn is even more humbling. It is through humility that I can push self to the side and be an advocate for others. It is through humility that I can stand up for those that cannot stand up for themselves and cry out for justice on their behalf. And it all comes back to the gospel. I am humbled that in my need, a Savior came to provide a way that I could never provide for myself. In that humility, I count others as more important for the sake of the gospel. So both wings and feet. So then the next question really dealt with the idea of ethical principles in regards to these topics. And when it comes to ethical principles, often counselors must employ ethical decision making models or EDMs in order to make the best decision not for themselves, but for those that they serve. And according to the article, the role of decision making models in reflection and navigating ethical dilemmas by Jessica Burkholder, David Burkholder, and Martin Gavin, a large part of employing the appropriate EDM when faced with ethical situations or dilemmas is the adherence to the American Counseling Association's 2014 Code of Ethics. And it's through the lens of the Code of Ethics that counselors take the appropriate actions for the betterment of the client and their system. So they're not coming at it from it's the betterment of me and protecting self. It's what's for the betterment of the client and their systems. For a believer, that code of ethics points us to living a life of integrity that's rooted in cultural humility. The code of ethics calls us to approach clients and colleagues with multicultural awareness and competence, but also be advocates for social justice and change, even for those that are culturally different than we are. To strive to practice counseling in a professional, ethical manner is rooted in the biblical truth that my life is less about me and more about Christ in me and through me. And a verse that I feel like really relates to this that I hold on to, not only as I'm studying to be a counselor in training, but as I also work in the public school system, is Micah 6:8. He has told you, a man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. The first part, he has told you, a man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, speaks to a relationship with God. So, in a relationship with God, as I love God and God works through me, I am able to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God, which relates to all these topics we're talking about: cultural humility, advocacy. All of those are rooted in what does the Lord require of me, Him through me to others. An action that I will take to develop or demonstrate cultural humility with clients. First of all, spiritually, I'd like to approach each day with prayer. Pray of emptying myself to better serve others. But professionally, an action I would like to take is to join the ACA's division, Association for Multicultural Counseling and Development, to intentionally learn from colleagues who are different than me and challenge my own privilege and cultural awareness. And then an area that I'd like to advocate or engage in is at the church level. I'd like to advocate that churches be more aware and ready to engage people that struggle with their mental health. I know this is not all churches, but at the local, associational, and even national level, I'd like to advocate that the church be a safe place and a well-informed place in order to interact with a diverse group of people, including those who may not be mentally healthy in their current state. I feel this is an area that my church that I'm a member of and others in my area could improve upon, and I would like to be a voice for that change. Thank you so much. Have a great day.